Alright class, welcome back to the next video. Last time we discussed, I believe it was system software or operating systems. And now we're going to discuss application software. Now the major difference here is operating systems run your system, allow you to interact with your system. An application software is actually installed on your operating system, usually for some purpose or another. Can be fun, can be productivity. Of course, there are good and bad applications that can be installed, but typically the ones that you install, for example, on your phone or on your computer, are something you put on there because you want. This could be a game, this could be, any number of things. So, the good applications. Applications that came with your computer, maybe, or that you installed yourself for some purpose or another. You wanted it, you wanted to use it for something. Something along those lines. For example, Firefox, Chrome, even Word, and of course games and things like that. These are all good applications that you put on yourself for those particular reasons, whether it's to surf the internet, type up a document, or even just play some games and have some fun. Now, of course, if there are good applications, there's also got to be bad. For example, a couple that are listed here. Now, a bad application would be an application that you may have installed, but it doesn't do exactly what it's supposed to do. It says, "Hey, I'm going to do this," but when you install it, it does more than you thought. A good example of that is if you happen to have a phone with a flashlight app. You may or may not know this, but the top 10 flashlight apps in like the App Store, I know particularly on Android, are actually, they do a lot more than just turn on the flashlight. Turn on a flashlight takes really no information, no power at all. But these flashlight apps are rather large when you consider what they're doing. And it's because they're actually gathering information. They're actually spying on you a bit and doing other things. Now, of course, another application would be an application that you didn't install. This program installed itself on your computer. You were visiting some website. Some ad popped up, and in that ad is embedded some code that says, "Hey, install this on whoever's looking at the ad." And the program gets installed on your system, and you never even know it. You may be able to figure it out with programs, or if you have some sort of major malfunction or something, but otherwise you don't even see it happen. Now, these types of bad software, one of the most well-known would be your virus. Now, these are programs that are designed to disrupt, damage, or cause data loss to a user. Their sole purpose is pretty much just to wreck things up. Now, there are a couple of different categories of viruses that do slightly different things. Your normal virus is what this basically is. There are also worms and Trojans and other things that do slightly different things, but for the most part all the viruses fall in the same category as you don't want them on your computer, regardless of what their purpose is. At this one I usually get asked, where do they come from? Who makes these things? And truthfully, I mean, it could be just some random people. Somebody who's really good with computers and decided, hey, I wonder if I can do this. And they did it. And some of these viruses are very intelligently designed so they can hide in networks and computers and flash drives, only to be unleashed later on and just copy and replicate themselves, and that's how they still exist. Some are made by the government, actually. Believe it or not, the government makes a good portion of viruses as well. Sometimes they unleash them upon another government. Sometimes they just release them here and there just to see how, vulnerable we may be, or how people will react when this thing gets cut loose, or something along the lines of that. If you were to look at the world from a network perspective, actually, you'd probably see it looks a lot like World War III. There are countries hacking each other back and forth, unleashing viruses back and forth. It's just non-stop battle as far as the internet and networks are concerned. China, for example, has hacked us numerous times, hacked the Pentagon, hacked White House and various other servers. They've hacked Google so much that Google decided just to leave the country completely. So they actually left China because they were tired of getting hacked every other day. And of course we check and, we see that it's actually coming from some government building in Hong Kong or something like that. An actual government agency building. And of course, they say, no, we didn't do any of that, and you can't really prove it. We can prove the location, but we can't really do much about it. Now, of course, we're not completely innocent in any of this at all. We have done plenty of stuff that's just as bad, if not worse. There was an instance where Iran had, nuclear reactors going, centrifuges that were going around enriching uranium. And effectively what just happened was, one of the reactors just started messing up and exploded. And they checked it, and it came back to a virus that had infiltrated their system. Now, this is a very specific virus, specifically designed to mess with a nuclear reactor. Obviously, this is not something some random person would do. All right, let me pause for just 1 second. All right, sorry for the momentary interruption. All right, I believe we were discussing the government and various things they've done. Actually, there's one other story other than the Iran story that effectively comes to basically our CIA spying on a whole lot of people. There was a virus or a particular spyware on thousands of Middle Eastern computers for years until it was finally found, and it could do everything from record audio to video and various other things. And it was all sent straight back to the CIA. Of course, it was eventually found, and a guy by the name of Kaspersky, actually, a Russian cryptologist, figured out what it was and where it came from. Now, on the list of software that we don't want on our computer, malware. Malware basically just means software that installs itself on a person's computer without their permission, usually with bad intentions. This would be your, viruses and things like that could be considered malware. But usually the term is used for, something along the lines of spyware. Because spyware will install itself on your computer. Typically you won't even know it. There are some that you install yourself and it doesn't do what it's supposed to do. But in this particular case, what spyware actually does overall, it's software that spies on you. Records what sites you visit, what you search for, what your interests and things like that are. I know it sounds kind of creepy, but the whole point of it is basically to take that information and sell it for money. If you have a massive amount of information on a bunch of people, their likes, their dislikes, what sites they go to, imagine how much money you can make. If I want to sell something, if I know, all the people with this particular interest of the thing I want to sell or go here, then that's where I'll put up my ads. I can save huge amounts of money if I know where to target my audience and where they are. Or let's say, what if I wanted to know, I want to sell something, I don't know what it is. What seems like it would sell? I could use that information again to figure out what people like and go with that. Now, it may also try to force pop-up ads on you. Now, the goal of this is, for you to click on those ads and go to different websites. But it can also take control of your browser and send you to those websites. I remember one that I've seen before where basically anytime you tried to go somewhere, it would send you to a various other website. Buy this, buy that, spend money on this. Now, obviously, the whole goal of spyware is really just to make money. It can either be by selling your information or through other means, like clicking on those ads. They make fractions of a cent every time someone gets sent to those links, or every time someone clicks on that advertisement. When you get sent to those other web pages where they're asking you to buy stuff, if you spend money, obviously they make money. Now, sometimes there's spyware that doesn't actually seem like spyware. It may actually seem a lot like a virus scanner and things like that. If you happen to see a little thing pop up in the bottom corner of your computer that says, you have 50,000 infections, or something along the lines of, you might be infected. Well, guess what? You are. That little notification's probably a spyware trying to get you to do stuff. If you click on it and it's not your typical program that's on your computer, or it tries to get you to pay for something, then it's spyware. Now, how do we stop these viruses and spyware? Well, one, don't go to questionable sites. If you go to, really questionable sites, pornography, software, legal software, things like that, you're going to probably run into a lot more of these because that's one place where they propagate a lot. Now, of course, they could be in your normal everyday sites too, but the odds are higher if you go to the more questionable ones. Also, get proper security software. Uh, don't just have nothing on your computer. You can use software to actually stop spyware from even getting on your computer to begin with, or take it off once it's already there. Now, we're going to stop right here, actually. Boop. That's about, I